Hello and welcome everyone. I am Mansi Sharma, and today with us we have Mr. Ronald Jones, the former Education Minister of Barbados. So, welcome to our studio, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now that we're here, we would first like to know a little bit about you, about how you're associated with the university, and what is it that we're going to be talking about. What is it that you'd like to tell us?
Well, the Victoria University of Barbados was granted a charter first by the Cabinet of Barbados and the Government of Barbados, and the Ministry of Education signed off and provided that charter because it is the responsibility of the Ministry of Education to provide what I call a declaring facility for any type of university or school in Barbados. In this instance, the Victoria University of Barbados is a medical university, and that it provides training for young, upcoming, potential doctors to the world. It was granted that charter in October of 2017, and therefore it's about 2 years, approaching 2 years old. So we've made a commitment to educate the young people of the world as much as we can in the particular discipline, because we know that there is in fact a scarcity of doctors, both in the as general practitioners and as in the specialist area. So we want to add our value, our worth to that process, and therefore the Victoria University of Barbados came into being to add to that what I call the flavor of training, to provide both quality and to pursue excellence among the institution, but more particularly among the students and faculty who are part and parcel of that institution.
Okay. If you talk about the university, about the courses that are offered there, what is it that you can tell about the courses for the students who are traveling from especially foreign countries to Barbados?
Well, we are doing what is referred to as an MD, which is equivalent to an Mbbs, Bachelor's of Medicine, Bachelor's of Science. The MD program is pursued particularly by United States, Canada, while the Mbbs tends to relate more to the eastern side of the world and the Commonwealth countries of the world. So the MD program has a bent towards a North American training, North American acceptance of the qualification. So our curriculum leans heavily towards the United States, where the USMLE, the United States Medical License exam, will be undertaken by the students over 5 to 6 year period, which means that it is possible for them to work in the United States, to work in many other countries, maybe in all countries of the world.
Yeah.
Of course, there's one minor proviso, is that if it is not accepted, you have to do the indigenous or local professional qualification for you to become a doctor.
For the license.
For the license, is the license to practice. So essentially, it's a 5-year program. The first year is called the pre-medical program, and covers some 90 credit hours.
Okay.
The USMLE, I think, demands 80 or 72 or 80 credit hours, but our program actually carries 90 credit hours because we've inserted in there English as a discipline, because there are some persons whose native tongue might not necessarily be that of English. So we're trying to make sure that all persons are able to communicate in the what you call the global language through generally standard English. And Barbados as a country is very suited for the provision of medical education, because its natural idiom, its natural language is that of English, standard English really, that is spoken for business, for education, for commerce, etc. So we have to do physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, English, anatomy and physiology at the very preliminary level in our basic year or in our first year, in our pre-medical year, and that is demanded. So it's a 5-year course, it's a 5-year program, and therefore we ask persons to bring what is called an entry behavior of knowledge in those disciplines that I've identified, particularly physics, chemistry, and biology. And from after that, and the student is successful, and to be successful, you have to get a grade of C or a GPA of 2.0 or 60%. All of them are the same, 60%, which is a GPA of 2. And you can go as high as 100%, where you would get, of course, a GPA of 4, just slightly above 4. And you pass. Now, if you get lower than 60%, that means you failed. But provision is made for you to redo that.
Like supplementary exams?
Yes, that is correct, to redo that. Not the course, but the exam in order to make the grade. So you have one other opportunity in order to make the grade. And then a 2-year basic science, or we start in what we call the 4th semester to do basic science, which will be composed of many other disciplines. Again, anatomy and physiology, immunology, and those disciplines that relate to the basic sciences program. So that would go for 2 years or 6 semesters.
Okay.
So for the first 3 years, you've completed 9 semesters. As part of your movement towards the clinical rotation phase, that is where you really learn the whole practice of someone who will eventually become a doctor. You have to satisfy the USMLE, because that is one of the components of what we do at Victoria University of Barbados. And then in the clinical rotations, you will go through between 14 to 16 specific disciplines that relate, obviously, to the practice of medicine. Pediatrician, cardiology, gerontology, all of those, gynecology, all of those areas, you are taught on a 12 to 14-week rotation basis, working with consultants, working with professors, developing the competence, developing the skill, able to do the diagnosis, and all of that. So at the end of your 4th year, you will be able to do a USMLE Step 2. And then you complete the full program, but you must do USMLE Step 3 in order to proceed further into other stages of study or residency, referred to as internship within the Mbbs process, and then into your postgraduate qualifications, etc. So it's a involved, intense program. We utilize a model of training which not only deal with the theoretical constructs of medicine, but you also deal with the practical understanding, the practical component. If you speak about the heart, understand what's the purpose, its role, its function, why blood flows in and blood flows out, the arteries, the connections. So it's a holistic process, so that your knowledge is not fragmented, but that your knowledge is holistic. And therefore, in an instance like that, we reach out to the world, not only to students of India, students from Africa, students from the Caribbean, wherever persons are interested in learning the medical skills, they can attend Victoria University of Barbados, and let us grow together with the kind of faculty that we've recruited, with their knowledge, with their skills. You should become a highly trained and extremely competent doctor, having passed through the VUB.
So Mr. Jones, when we talk about the admission process, so let's just talk about students from India first. So when they are applying to pursue their MD, as you said, or MBBS in our curriculum from Victoria University of Barbados, what is it that would make them eligible to first get admission? Like how many percentage, what are the scores that you require? what is the basic minimum that you need them to have to be eligible?
Okay, let me put this in 2 stages. You should have completed your grade 12, and you should have a passing mark of, I call it 40% and upward.
Okay.
40% and upward. And you should have successfully completed NEET. NEET being the exam that is nationally administered in Barbados and in India, which would tell you the standard of those students who've taken the exam or who want to proceed either to medicine, engineering, or these disciplines. In our instance, it is medicine. And once they've satisfied those requirements, then they're eligible to be accepted.
Okay.
So your grade 12, 11, 12, your NEET program. But I'll also say to you that those students who on the first blush, we call it, on the first instance, who've not satisfied NEET, we would take them and put them into a program.
Okay.
So that they are better prepared the second time around. We'll put them into a program, we'll work with them, let them understand the dynamics of a multiple choice format and how you answer what you know and don't answer what you don't know. You don't go guessing because one works against the other. So we'll put them through that process, and we'll be willing to accept those students as well once they're able then to make that journey successfully through the NEET. Okay. We've not had, and I've had some association with students from India. Generally good students, work hard and they're focused, and therefore most students can come. But they're like that because of obviously what has taken place here in India, but also what takes place at learning institutions in Barbados, and in this case, a VUB, Victoria University of Barbados, so that we impact on them dynamically and we change focus, we create greater discipline, we provide the kind of apparatus that would allow them and cause them to learn and to feel connected to the process of learning. And therefore, the Victoria University of Barbados is one that we want to encourage persons to come to. We want to encourage persons because it really ties into our vision of what, and I will share that with you. We aspire to be a leading world-class medical institution offering benchmark education to students from all around the world, where students are enabled to become exceptional doctors. Just not doctors, the average mediocre doctors. To serve humanity, because that must be the guiding principle today. In our world where there are still pulses of differences and based on ideology and religion and color, we want doctors to serve humanity wherever they are. And we want to build a better world together by offering their healthcare services to those really in need. So that is the mantra, the vision that guides us in this pursuit.
So when I talk about going and studying from a foreign country, the first thing that comes to my mind, or to any any student or the student's parents' mind, is the expenditure. That it's going to be expensive going to another country and studying. So how do we help our students going from India? What is it? Do we have scholarship facilities? Do we have any benefits to the students in VUB?
Yes, there are benefits, but before I speak to the benefits, I know persons will be listening to hear that. When you leave your homeland and the comfort of your domestic environment, one would expect that there will be a bit of anxiety, but coming to Barbados, we quickly dissipate that anxiety. We create a home away from home, both in your housing solutions and in your teaching environment. So we observe all of the given festivals. If you're Hindu, if you're Muslim, if you're Buddhist, if you're Christian, you have an opportunity to, be part and parcel of that environment. And we recognize the holidays and all of that, because persons must be comfortable and feel that they are
It's a proper global community.
Yeah, global community. And what is important, the mixture of cultures and colors and classes and reality create a hybrid institution which allows people to know each other better. And so you're better able to go back into the world. Don't discriminate, don't practice racism, none of those things, but simply be a human being, coexisting, living and sharing. Now, for students who want to come to VUB, our fee structure is not expensive at all. In fact, it is relatively inexpensive. In your first year, for your tuition fee, you're talking $8,000 US. In your second year, $8,000 US. Your third year, $7,000, and in your fourth and fifth years, $6,000. And of course, then you will look at where you're doing your clinical rotations, because that's other costs that are added because you are now in the clinical rotation phase. But for the first 20 students this year, 2019, who apply to VUB, we're going to give them a 50% scholarship, so that in fact they wouldn't have to pay $8,000 US tuition fee for the first year, but they will pay $4,000 US tuition fee. In the second year, we'll extend it into that, and we'll also say rather than the $8,000, you will pay $4,000 tuition fee as well. That is what I call giving young people who want to be doctors, what we refer to as the premier profession, an opportunity to impact in what is part of the caring professions, that opportunity. And I would say to the young people of India, of Africa, where there's many nations, of the Caribbean and its diverse and complex societies, be part of this. The first 20 students, scholarships of 50% over the 5 years of study. And what is more important is that you will have your admission charge waived, which is $1,000 US for students of India and Africa. Your processing charge also waived. We will keep, of course, your housing and meals costs, which is like not much, $400 US per month.
Okay.
In which calculates at 800 Barbados dollars, and you will be able to tell me how many rupees that is. Not a lot at all. So we've looked at the environment. We know there's a heavy demand for competent and skilled doctors in India and certain parts of Africa. So we want to do our bit in that process. As former Minister of Education of Barbados, it's an area that I examined very closely and very critically. And that is why I was persuaded to say to the Cabinet of Barbados, we have to do our bit for the young people of the world, not only for the young people of Barbados, but for the young people of the world generally, and therefore, through this process, make it possible for them to study. We know that studying medicine is very, very expensive, but we've created a model where everybody participates to make it more inclusive and not costly to individual students. Not every parent owns a tech company. Not every parent owns a pharmaceutical company. Not every parent owns 1,000 hectares of land on which soybeans or wheat or rice is grown. So we don't want to discriminate against the young, bright student or the student who is willing to put in the time, to put in the determination, and to put in the focus. And therefore, the Victoria University of Barbados brings that to India, Africa, the Caribbean, and from wherever else students who want to benefit can practice.
So I think this is one thing that I should mention again for all those who are watching the video, that the first 20 students applying to VUB will be eligible for 50% of scholarship in their tuition fees, and their other charges like the admission charges and the processing charges will also be taken care of. So this is, I think, a big relief for those who are looking to pursue medicine in any country, especially because if we talk about private institutions, those fees just go, they are without any limit. So this is, I think, a very good opportunity for people who are looking to pursue medicine not only from a good institution, but also to graduate as a good doctor, not just as somebody with a degree. So that's a good opportunity, I feel.
And that is why we have established standards below which we don't expect students, doctors to fall. And that is why our class sizes will not be excessive at all. This is not about mass-based teaching. This is about individualized teaching, individualized demonstration, individualized instruction in an environment that is highly conducive. I know some parents are usually concerned, particularly Indian parents, mothers particularly, when their daughters and their sons go overseas, they wonder, is it safe? Is it secure? I give my word that it is safe for those students, that the protective mechanisms are there for those students, that we take care of their needs, their reasonable, rational needs as an institution. Their counseling needs are taken care of. The food needs are taken care of. That is why the contribution of $400 a month. You cannot, in reality, in the wide world, support yourself on only $400 for housing and food. But the principal owners of the Victoria University of Barbados, conscious human beings, have said this is what we want to do. The profit factor is not the motive that drives us, but it is the ability to make a contribution to young people of India, to young people of Africa, to young people of the Caribbean, to young people of the world. The opportunity is very much there, and we have about 150 seats available for first-year students to come and join us and to feel the flavor of a different environment, but one which is not unlike India in relation to its temperature, in relation to its attire. Yes, most of the ladies in Barbados wouldn't wear saris and things like that. They are for the Hindu population, and there are some in Barbados who would so attire themselves. So you're not in a strange land, and we do not treat you like strangers. We treat you as though you were our own children, our own family member, our members, our own country people from wherever you come. Be part of this momentum, be part of this vision. But I want to repeat again, it's not a profit motive that drives. There's a motive to educate and to guide young people into productive activity and productive endeavor. And therefore, rather than $8,000 as the tuition fee for the first year, the first 20 students, and there could be many first 20 students, we'll look at them as they come. Rather than $8,000, $4,000 as your tuition fee first year, and that continues throughout the 5-year program. So, in fact, they can call toll free.
Yes.
1-800-833-7722, and we can repeat that because it's important that they know that number and call 1-800-833-7722.
Yes, of course, we'll also mention this number on our video, and we'll mention it everywhere so that the students always have it easier to contact us and ask us about these. But I want to discuss this hostel facility that we're talking about for the students. Of course, the fee structure that has gone down, that is a big benefit for the parents. But let's talk about how is the hostel facility that is going to be a good benefit for the parents, as a Indian parents sending their kids out. How is it good for them?
We have good facilities in Barbados for student housing. If we have 200 students, we unfortunately we can't put 200 students together, but most of our facilities will go between 42 and 50 students in shared accommodation, ensuite bathrooms, toilet facilities. There are good facilities for sleeping. Every single child has his own sleeping space, his own sleeping bed. They have somewhere to which to hang their clothes from out of the suitcase that they brought. The security is good. So you will have both physical and electronic security, both at the campus and where students will be housed. And we've kept the distance between campus and housing to between 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
So if a student wants to walk to campus, they so can, but transportation is provided going to campus and movement from campus to the housing facility. So that is not a worry. We also have washing machines provided, so we won't be using the traditional method of washing with your hand. Those who want to can, but there are washing machines provided that they can wash their garments and have them dried and stuff like that. And there are in one of our hostels cooking facilities if they so desire, microwave facilities, eating table. All of that is provided to make sure that the comfort is there, and therefore they don't have to worry about that, but they can focus deliberately on their work. We've made it possible. We put on board persons to clean the facility, to sweep and mop, and all of that is done. And at a very, very reasonable rate for housing and food of $400 a month. 400. That's $100 a week. You know, that's is remarkable. I would like to become young again to benefit from this kind of offering being given by the Victoria University of Barbados. And they can go online and, check
on the website.
On the website and check VUBmed.org, www.vubmed.org, and see what that says. We're not hyperventilating, accentuating anything. We're not into hyperbolic language at all. We are stating what is, and what is real.
So I think we can just, make it very clear that going and studying for an Indian student at VUB is not only affordable for the first 20 students, but for the others as well. Plus, for the parents, if you're sending your children to VUB, it's a very homely atmosphere, and your child will not feel out of place or like he's traveling into a different country and he's left without any options. So that's of course a good thing. But if we talk about the visa requirements, whether as a student in Barbados, how is life, if it's comfortable traveling to another country, just to give a brief to the students about traveling to Barbados.
Well, traveling to Barbados, students from any part of the world, once they are titled students, they must receive a student visa.
Okay.
And part of that is because we have a responsibility the world over to let parents know where their children are. So that when you fill the visa application form out, student visa, they want to know where you'll be staying, how long you'll be staying there, do you have enough money to support yourself over the period. And since most students really are not workers, the parent provides a letter of guarantee which simply says, I am John Brown, and my son or daughter is whatever their names are, and my commitment is to support them for the 5 years of study in Barbados, in your country. Please find attached a copy of my financings or my financials, and that's all. That's what you need. Of course, you need 3 or 4 picture IDs for the shots, which you supply. You should also provide a police certificate of character.
Okay.
You should also provide your grade 11 and grade 12 educational experience, educational background.
NEET scores?
You will provide your NEET scores, but for us, that is really a thing for India and MCI to determine if you should pursue that based on your NEET score. We are more interested in your grade 11 and grade 12 marks. But because we are providing education for students of India as well, we need the NEET score. Well. But the immigration department doesn't need a NEET score. They just simply need your grade 11, your grade 12 scores. For us in the university, we want to hear from you while you're studying medicine.
Yeah.
So you write a personal statement. I'm studying medicine because I want to provide care and regard to the world. I want to be in a position to help people who are ill, who are infirm, to become well. That's you write a simple statement. I would say no less than 300 words. You don't have to write the treatise. Just 400 words. 300 words is already a lot. So we get an idea of your commitment through your words. But for parents who need to know more, you just go to the website, Victoria website, or you go to Barbados Immigration Department and type in student visa, and they're all there. In other words, it is so easy to see what the needs are. We're saying to you, your birth certificate, I'm going to repeat them again.
Yes.
Your birth certificate, the original birth certificate, or if it is copied, it must be apostille.
Okay.
If your student documents qualifications are not in the original, there must be apostille.
Okay.
In other words, all copies must be apostille.
Okay.
But we're saying to you, send us the originals, you'll get them back. You'll get them back because the immigration likes to see the copy and the original. And in an instance of apostille, that is viewed as an original because the person who does the apostilling says, I authenticate this document as true and correct, and put the seal and the signature and stamp and everything on it. The police certificate of character, you should apply for that because we want to know if you're going to come and give problems. When you're coming, we want you to study. We don't want you to give trouble. So a police certificate of character, and I don't see why an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old should have a negative police certificate of character. A person that is studying don't get themselves involved in negative behavior. So you must have that as well. The photos, as well, the 4 photographs, you should have duly attested to, simply saying this is a true photo of,
the applicant.
Dilip Ishmael or something like that, of the applicant, all of those things. But they're right there on VUBmed.org or the Immigration Department of Barbados' website as well.
All right. So if I am to summarize whatever we've discussed so far, first thing is that it's a great opportunity for students coming from different countries and even locals, but mainly for students who are looking for education from a different country. So going to Barbados at VUB is a very good option because especially for the first 20 students, because there'll be a 50% scholarship on not just the first year of your fees but for entire 5-year course duration. So that is one of the most important things that the student should know. So if you're looking to apply, do hurry up. Secondly, the cost of living in Barbados is not expensive. It's reasonable if you compare it, and even if you do a rate transfer from Indian rupee to Barbadian dollar, it's a very affordable way of living. Third thing, for the parents, it's a very safe place to stay. The university and the entire culture is very inclusive, and there's no discrimination against anybody on any basis. So it's a very inclusive society, and it's a very comfortable stay for students going and living there from any part of the world. And finally, the medium of education is English, which is very important for anybody who is traveling to a foreign country, because that often comes across as a big doubt whether you'll be able to adjust well in the local language or not. So English is of course a very important part. And of course, when you are applying for the visa and admissions, it's all a very basic procedure. You have to provide all your proper documents that are verified, and your images, your photographs, and your police certificate, and your qualifications for your class 11, 12th, and your NEET scores. So all that is very clear, and if anybody has anything else that they need to ask, they can of course go into the website and check, or you can also call up on 1800-833-7722. So that's the toll-free number that you can always call up on and ask for any questions, and of course not to mention our comment section. So Mr. Jones, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for the video, and thank you so much for giving us all the information about the university, and we really hope it's a great success and we are able to answer all the questions properly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.